Welcome everyone to my channel. Today I'm going to showcase the British 5th Infantry Division that fought at the Battle of Victoria in 1813. These painted miniatures are from a commission that I started on the 19th of April 2021 and finally completed them on the 2nd of July this year. I hope you enjoy this showcase and a brief history of the division and officers commanding. Here we have, this is the 1st Brigade of the British 5th Division, which was led by Brigadier General Andrew Hay, and he was in command of the 1st Brigade. The 1st Brigade was made up of the 1st Regiment of Foot, or the Royal Scots, along with the 9th Regiment of Foot, or the Royal Norfolk, and then the 38th Regiment of Foot, or the 1st Staffordshire. Also had a company of Brunswick Jaegers, which are these ones here. This gentleman here at the front is the Brigadier General Andrew Hay with his supporting staff. And then we have the one here with the blue flag, because they've got the blue facings. These ones here, they are the 1st. And then we have the 9th, which is the yellow regimental flag, obviously for the yellow facings. And then we got the last one there, which is the 38th, which also has yellow facings and the yellow flag. But just in regards to Brigadier General Andrew Hay, he took command of this particular brigade shortly after the Battle of Vitoria, which was in September 1810. He survived much of the Peninsular War, but unfortunately he was killed in a church when the French garrison at Bayonne pressed an attack when news of Napoleon's abdication was first broken on the 13th of April 1814. So this particular garrison, even though it heard news that Napoleon's abdication was official, they obviously didn't want to stop the war, and they continued to press the attack, and unfortunately it cost the Brigadier General his life. He actually was held up in a church with his men, and he told them, "You've got to fight to the death. We can't give any ground. We've got to hold this town." And unfortunately he didn't survive to see the outcome of that battle, unfortunately. So next up will be the 2nd Brigade, and I will showcase that in just one moment. Okay guys, here we have in front of us the 2nd Brigade, which was part of the 5th Division. At the front here we have the commanding officer, which was Major-General Frederick Robinson. And then we have the company of Jaegers, which was at the front there, which is the Brunswick Jaegers, which were the brigade skirmish screen. There was only a company of those. And then the 1st Regiment at the front there is the 4th Regiment, which is the King's Own. And then the next one in the middle, which is the first one there with the white regimental flag, that one is the 47th Regiment of Foot, or the Lancashire. And then finally the last one at the back there is the 59th Regiment of Foot, or the 2nd Nottinghamshire. And this brigade was actually quite noticed during the Battle of Vitoria, and even the commander of the column that was coming down from the north, Lieutenant General Thomas Graham, he actually witnessed the exploits of this particular brigade, and he actually wrote in his sort of diary of the exploits of this particular brigade. Now I just want to read out what he actually wrote. It says, "The attack of the village of Gamara by Major General Robinson's brigade was justly admired by all who witnessed it. Too much praise cannot be given to Major General Robinson and the troops of his brigade for their persevering defence of a post so gallantly won. against numerous artillery and great masses of infantry. The enemy employed to retake it in repeated attacks. I just think that's amazing. You know, the brigade, a whole brigade, was given that such a citation. Usually, it's given that sort of honor is given to either individuals or a regiment. But no, the actual whole brigade was admired by the commanding officer at that particular battle, and I thought that was quite unique and quite interesting. So yes, the next will be the 3rd Brigade. This will be the final brigade of the division, which is the Portuguese forces which are attached to the division, and I will showcase them shortly. Okay, here we have is the 3rd Brigade, or the Portuguese Brigade, which is made up of all Portuguese units. The first 2 battalions there is the 3rd Portuguese Line Regiment, and then the other 2 there, they are the 15th Portuguese Line Regiment. And then at the back there we have the 8th Caçador Infantry Regiment there, which are light infantry. And at the front here we have the commanding officer, which I believe was Captain, sorry, no, not Captain, he was Brigadier General Frederick Spry. And he was a British officer, and I'm assuming, could be wrong, but because this was a British division, it had to actually have a British officer to command it. And as you can see there is a Portuguese officer supporting the British Brigadier General there. Obviously to keep the loyalty of the men, but I don't think that was a problem back then. I think the Portuguese were quite renowned for their loyalty and their fighting ability. I remember reading that the Portuguese were considered to be great soldiers for when it came to campaigning. They could pretty much last 3 to 4 days on a sip of water, where the British soldiers would collapse probably after an hour. I think that's pretty much what Wellington alluded to when he was commenting about the Portuguese infantry, that they were very dedicated and very hard fighting. And rightly so, because they were actually defending majority of the Peninsular War, their own homeland, and they wanted to get rid of the French totally out of the peninsula. And I think that was their motivation, and I think that motivation transferred into their ability to fight. I wouldn't say they're probably better than the British, but I would say they'd probably be on par with the British. Obviously, they were trained by the British, they were organised by the British, they were led by the British, so they would have been pretty much British soldiers, really, in blue coats when it came to their ability to fight. So this is the final brigade of the division. So there's 3 brigades, which in totals of about 11 battalions, which is quite a large amount of figures to paint when you consider that each battalion is 30 miniatures. So it was enjoyable to paint, to have a variety of different units to paint, but it's equally rewarding when you actually see them finally painted and based, and that the actual commission is over. But just going back to this particular brigade, I tried to find some information in regards to the Brigadier General Frederick Spry. Sadly, I couldn't find anything in regards to him. The only information I could find was that he had fallen ill in around about 1814, and unfortunately that illness took him, so he never actually got to see the end of the war. So that's the only information I can get, which is a bit sad. So next up, which brings us to the artillery battery that supported the division, and I'll showcase that next. Here we have the battery which supported the 5th Division, and this particular battery was commanded by Captain Robert Lawson. He was the officer that commanded this particular battery. This particular battery was part of the 97th Battery of the 4th Royal Artillery Regiment. Lawson's company held the unique record of being the only Royal Artillery unit to serve throughout the entire peninsula. He served from 1808 until 1814. In his battery operated between the 5th and 6th Division in Wellington's army. The battery at Vitoria actually historically consisted of around about 5 6-pounders and 1 howitzer. However, I've reduced that to 2 6-pounders and the single howitzer there. The reason why I did that was for gameplay reasons. So these can be adapted to any rules, because I thought if I put down the 5 to 6, it ended up being a grand battery in many rules, and that wasn't historical accurate, because they weren't actually a grand battery. So I don't think the British actually had any grand batteries, to be honest. Probably not until Waterloo, at least. So getting back to the commander, I just want to show you that's the commander there. That is our Captain Lawson, and he's there commanding. And also we have accompanying the artillery there, the battery, is the 2 limbers. Now with the limbers, I've added these as more of a of eye candy for the tabletop. Now I have mentioned in previous videos that I haven't actually come across any rules where these limbers can actually be used. So you can have like home rules and allow these limbers to be on the table to indicate if the artillery is limbered or unlimbered. Or you can just leave them on the tabletop next to the battery to make them pop with a bit of eye candy. It's always nice to see limbers teams on the tabletop next to artillery. But yep, so that's the artillery, which is the 97th Battery, which actually was a company of artillery, because it actually was split, if I remember correctly, because back in 1808, I think it was, this battery was split between 2. One actually went into the Peninsula under the command of Captain Robert Lawson, and I think the other half of this company went to Gibraltar, if I remember correctly. But I don't think it lasted there very long. I think it ended up being shipped back to to Britain. Okay, so up next, I'm just going to quickly show you the command base for this particular division, and then I'll wrap it up there. Here we have the command base for the 5th Division. This base represents the general, which was Major-General Oswald, which is this gentleman here at the very front. And then he has his support staff there. You have the ADCs, here and here, and you have the light dragoon officer, because as part of the column that came down under Graham, there was a division of cavalry, well, not a division of cavalry, but there was a brigade of cavalry which had light dragoons in it. So I would say that a dragoon officer would go to the division to give them support to coordinate any movement of cavalry. So I've included a cavalry officer in this particular command base. Then we have another ADC here, and then we have the Portuguese officer there, just to indicate that there is indeed a Portuguese element to this particular division. So that's the command base there. So this brings this showcase of the British 5th Division, the fought of the Battle of Vitoria, and some history of the officers that led the various parts of the division to an end. I'd just like to thank you for watching this showcase, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Just like my other showcase videos, I have included some close-up photos of the units at the end. That's it from me. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe and comment. Also, don't forget to hit that like button so I can continue to making videos for you, and all by hitting that bell you'll be the first to know that any future videos are uploaded. And that's it for me, and bye bye.